Hello, everybody. Welcome to the top tier championship PC qualifiers. We should be getting underway ever so shortly. And we are going to be on for Lobby 1 here this evening. My name is Max Ring. I'll be taking you through all your action this evening. And we shall see who comes out on top. What teams are going to get through? There's 10 spots up for grabs. Of course, this is the first time here in the TTC we have a PC division. It is the top tier, is the name of the division. We have 5 teams in this first lobby getting us underway. We have Tartan Esports with Valentino Labella and Gian Pantino. Then we have IRT with Spezzi and Darian Zins. Then we have Vroom with Jeremy Gallanet and also Louis. Then we have Bravo Racing Club with Jamil and Gino. And then we have Alex Santana and George Ansel taking up the TF10 spot. So let's now head trackside to see what we will have in offer this evening. Of course, 18-minute qualifying will be followed by another lobby straight afterwards. This is all the drivers have. They have 3 lots of, this one part of qualifying to get their lap times in, but of course we'll have multiple attempts within this qualifying to try and get underway and see how well they can do things here this evening. So, as we head out on to the circuit, we'll see who can come out on top this evening. Likely favourites are the likes of Vroom, TF10 and also Tartan, of course, early big hitters in this stage of the qualifiers. But we'll see how they all progress. As everyone is out on an outlap, and the first driver to be getting us underway for a lap time will be the Alpine of George Ansel. See now, heads through turn 7, of course, preparation is key. Track evolution will be key as well to get these lap times on the board on a circuit like Austria. You're not going to be finding too much time over the competitors, so it can be very close indeed. So here we are then with George for TF10, the first lap of the evening. It's about to get underway now as we cross that start-finish line up into turn 1. We go now, late on the brakes, down to 4th gear. Try not to invalidate on that left-hand side. DRS open. As we then head up the hill, it will be up into turns 2 and 3. Looking at about a 16 first sector, a 15.6 for a first sector there from George Ansel. A very nice first sector indeed. A little bit scrappy on corner exit of turn 3 as we now head down the hill into the Swashgold of turn 4. Now seeing what he can do. As you can see, George just taking a lot of curb through there, through that right hand as we now head through turn 5 and into the left hand of 6. What's the middle sector split looking like? 44.0. So then back on the power, a little bit of understeer through turn 7. That's going to affect his run all the way through 8 and up into 9. So this could give his someone like his teammate of Alex Santana potentially the opportunity to just streak a little bit further ahead. But for TF10 and for George, this is the benchmark time for everybody to beat in this session. Across the line, it's a 1 minute 3.1. A very fast lap time indeed. Very good from George Ansel. His teammates, Alex goes into 2nd place with 1 minute 3.234. Nicely done from him. Matteo now going up to the line here for Vroom. What's it going to be? Only a 1 minute 3.9. Not the strongest from the Red Bull. One of the Haas cars, I think, invalidated. They were just starting. It was Noise who went up into 4th for BRC, and then Darian goes now up to the top of the times. A 1 minute 3.0. Nicely done from him. 4 attempts clear of Spezzi. Gallanet now up to the top. If you've seen Gallanet in any type of league racing before, you know he is very good at his 1 lap pace. And that certainly is showing here on that first lap, but a big difference for VRM as there is 9 attempts separating these 9 attempts separating Matteo and Jeremy Gallinet. The Bella invalidated. He's lapping us invalidated this one as well. And GIN Petro has not gone out just yet. So for GIN Pietro, he is just coming out of the pit lane now. Is the Aston Martin for Tartan Esports. So we'll see what he will be able to do. So far for Tartan, not been the greatest of starts. One driver not able to set a lap time yet. The other just coming out. So he's a little bit off sync compared to everybody else. We'll see where this lies in relation to the likes of Jeremy Gallinet's lap now. We've had a full lap of racing action, well, qualifying action underway. The track slowly starts to get rubbered in more and more. So, with Pietro. See what he can do for Tartan. His teammate Valentino Labella not able to get a lap time on the board just yet. So now all the hope currently lies so far on these opening laps on Oggiano. So as we exit out of the final corner, DRS open. Of course, he's got the track to himself. We'll have no traffic on this lap, and it's just going to be a clear road in front of him. So, down to fourth, getting through the first corner, a little bit wide through there. That's going to affect his momentum all the way up into turn 3. And we'll see that middle sector split. Compared to what we saw for Ansel, it was a 15.6 for Ansel, a 15.7 for Ogitano as he now heads into the right-hander of turn 3. And now back onto the DRS, heading down into the Swash Gold. Later the brakes once more, about 75 metres, get the car down to third gear, hit the inside apex curve and then back on the power once more. You're going to head into the left-hander of turn 6. Make sure you just run the car as wide as possible before you get it into 7. A little bit of understeer and a little bit of a rear slide as well for the Aston Martin. Everybody else coming out onto the circuit except from Ansel and Sins as they now head through turn 9. That's a big moment for GM Pietro. Is he going to be able to keep this lap within that 1 minute 3.4 range across the line? It is a 1 minute 3.0. Still plenty of time to find with the messy turns 1 and turn 9, but he goes second fastest, and that is a beautiful lap for Tartan as he is now up into second place, only 300ths behind Jeremy Gallinet. So we now run on board with Valentino Labella, the other Tartan Aston Martin. Not set a lap time just yet, so we'll keep him on board as well to see how his lap will fare towards his teammate. So, nicely done through turn 1. It's actually invalidated ever so slightly. Once again for Labella, seeming to struggle with these track limits. And that is another lap that's going to go amiss, and this could be crucial for Tartan, as they're going to be looking to try and get through. They are one of the big hitters, one of the early favourites you would think to get through into the main season. But unfortunately there for Valentino Labella, another invalidation will not do his chances a world of good. Santana to the line did unfortunately invalidate. That would have put him second fastest. Spezzi in the McLaren now going to be heading through the right-hander of turn 9 and into 10. Currently on a 1 minute 3.4 as Noyes now goes up into 6th place with 1 minute 3.2. Here comes Spezzi. He goes now third fastest. Just pips his teammate of Zins. And it's a 1 minute 3.074. Super close throughout this field thus far. Look at that, the top 4 split by well under a 1/10 of a second. And Ansel now starting his lap. We'll see what he can potentially do. But now let's go on board with Gallinet. Unfortunately, he's invalidated as well. So for the Red Bull, wasn't been able to improve on his lap time anyway, and that's an unfortunate invalidation for him. But George Ansel as he's now heading into turn 6, just about to hit that middle sector split. Was up by 300ths in the first sector, nearly up by a 1/10 in that middle sector. Could we see now Jeremy Gallinet finally be displaced? Of course, Ansel would need to keep this rate of improvement into the right-hander of turns 9 and 10. A little bit scrappy through 9. Nicely done through 10. Up to the line now comes George. Will he displace Galanet? No, misses out by 17 thousandths of a second. But for TF10, that's another good lap time. At the moment, it's seeming like IRT are the best team in terms of overall positions and overall time. Their average will be about that 1 minute 3.02. Brilliant lap time for both Spezzy and Sins. Unfortunately, Sins not able to improve on this next attempt, with the Bella coming up to the line and once again invalidating on the run up to the line this time around, and that would have been good enough for third fastest. So for the Bella, he's got the lap time in him, just needs to hook up that lap if he wants any chance of trying to help Tartan qualify. So now, as we get ready and drivers now preparing for the next few runs. In this session. See what these drivers are going to be able to do. Could we get someone break the 1 minute 2 range in these final part of qualifying of these qualifying sessions? Or are we just going to be stuck at that 1 minute 3.0 range that currently 5 drivers do occupy? Santana coming out on his outlap. He currently lies 6th fastest, so 1 minute 3.234 for the Alpine. And Callum already getting a prediction in saying they will get a 2.8 as the final time of this qualifying session. Still 7 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. So still plenty of time for these drivers to get a run in. Of course, I'll be looking at 4 runs. Of course, I don't have to worry about saving a set for the race because there is no race. It is all just solely qualifying based. And it's now all down to these drivers over the course of those 4 potential laps to get these times on the board. And if you don't, you could potentially be the reason, unfortunately, as harsh as it is, that your team does not qualify. So for Santana, now exiting out of turn 1 through turn 2 and up into the first sector split. He's up by just over half a tenth. Nicely done from Alex as we now get back on the power as we head open, DRS open down into turn 4. Apparently a purple first sector there from Alex in the Alpine, so we'll see how this correlates over the rest of the lap. A little bit wide through the Swash Gold than we've seen other drivers thus far in this qualifying session. He's not elected to take that curve, and the same through turn 6 as well. That one actually looking a bit more planted, up by just under a tenth of a second, and nicely done as well through the left-hander of turn 8. Could we see a 6th driver hit those 1 minute 3.0s, or are we just going to be stuck at that barrier, and is Santana just eventually just going to fall short? DRS open as we head up to the line. Is it going to be good enough for a 2? It's a 1 minute 3 dead. He does go fastest, and we are still just within those 1 minute 3 barriers. An extra 1,000 from Santana would have seen himself into the 1 minute 2s, and actually Gianpietro goes into the 1 minute 2. So 1 minute 2.873 in FG. Callum only a few moments ago said we'll get to those 2 minute 0.8s. Gianpietro has gone straight to that time and hit that benchmark immediately. Jeremy Galanet on his lap time now as the McLaren gets out the way quite nicely. I think that's Spezzy on his outlap. So it'll be Galanet now heading into the right-hander of turns 9 and 10. He is improving on his previous best. Could potentially beat Santana, and unfortunately, as invalidated as he made his way to the line, would have been the second driver to get into the .2s. Ansel has also invalidated his up. Spezzy is starting his. Darian Sins in the IRT McLaren, now heading through the left-hander of turn 7. A little bit sketchy through there and was down in the middle sector. So we'll see if he can find anything, pull anything back through this final part of the lap, and we have a spin. It is Darian Sands going for a spin, and unfortunately for him, that is going to be the end of his next attempt. Hasn't been able to improve since the start, and he went for a nice old spin around at turn 9. Noise is not improving on his lap. He'll be coming into pit lane. See see if anyone else is going to be able to improve on their laps. Valentino Labella, he's a man to watch, has finally got the lap time. Valentino heads up to the line and goes second fastest. A much needed lap for Tartan Esports, and that could really cement themselves as through. Both drivers in that 1:02 range, and that was a lap that had a lot of pressure on Valentino Labella's shoulders. If he validated that one, it would have went to a one-lap shootout, but he finally got that lap time on the board. And for Labella, very nice indeed. So everybody now going to be coming back into the pit lane and will be starting their final runs ever so shortly. See what teams will come out on top. The track will be at its best. As we now are just preparing as the drivers of Matteo and Labella head back into pit lane. Matteo only on a 1:03.4. That's not going to be great for VRM as Jeremy Gallonay is on that 1:03.0, but that would average out to, I want to say, around a 1:03.2 overall on their average. And that would be with BRC as the two worst averages of this session. So 2 minutes and 50 left on the clock. We'll see drivers coming out ever so shortly. And we'll now be heading into Lobby 2 once we are over. We'll be heading to a short intermission after Lobby 2 because I'll be setting up the next lobby. But then we'll be straight back into the action once everybody has joined that lobby. So for Labella, of course, these drivers will keep coming out. It's not like your normal qualifying format where if you think you've done a good enough lap time for pole, you're just going to sit in the garage. They're going to come out for another lap. The more time you can find, even if it's a thousandth of a second, could be so crucial between your team going through and your team getting eliminated here this evening. So for Gian Pietro and Valentino Labella, these aren't as crucial moments, unlike the moments for the likes of Gino, Noyes and Matteo, who are looking to try and get into that 0.0 range at the very least. This could all be the difference for the likes of Spezzi and Darian for IRT, even for TF10. Those little hundredths of a second do count, and we still have 2 more lobbies to go after this one. Some little hiccups could potentially be their demise. We could see them out by the smallest of margins. So we'll go on board with Matteo. So I think it's a little bit further back. We do have the Bella getting us underway. Actually, no, we'll stay on board with Gian Petrio actually, as he's now heading on to his final attempt. We'll just have enough time to back off if he doesn't validate this one, but it will not be too much the end of the world for Tartan. They're the only team who have an average of a 1:02 at this current stage. DRS Open as we head up into the first sector. Split is down by 400ths of a second, so as you then slowly pull that power back on. DRS Open once more as we head down the hill into the Swash Gold, and he's actually aborted the lap. So we'll move over now to his teammate, to Valentino Labella, who had so much pressure on him over the past few laps. That pressure has now subsided, it's off his shoulders, and he's up by just under 800ths of a second through that first sector. Could we potentially see a 1:02.7 from one of these drivers as we head into the right-hander of the Swash Gold? A little bit wide through there, maybe a little bit too hot on the brakes from Valentino Labella. As for Labella now into turn 6, down to 5th gear, bring the car back out wide, ride the curve over that middle sector split, has lost a little bit of time. He's only 200ths up, but they could be some crucial 200ths of a second. So as we now head into the right-hander of turn 9, followed by turn 10. He's kept it clean, he's kept it valid. Can we see an improvement here from Labella as he comes to the line? No, just isn't able to improve. That's one of the Alpines up the line. That's Ansel up into second. Brilliant lap time for TF10. And he improves into the 1 minute 2s. Unfortunately for Gallané, he has aborted his lap time. His teammate Matteo, I think, is heading up to the line. Spezzi not able to improve. Matteo and VRM, this is a crucial lap, but not much of an improvement. That could be their demise, already signed, sealed and delivered. Gino now to the line. He's up by 2 tenths, lost a tenth in the final sector. Only 8th fastest, and for Noise, he stays in 9th fastest, not able to improve. And it was a very frantic end to that session. And for Gian Pietro, he tops Lobby 1. And Tartan will have, I think, the best average throughout the field as well. So they take an early lead in these qualifiers with, I think it will then be TF10, followed by IRT, VRM, and then BRC bringing up the rear of these first 5 teams in Lobby 1. We're just waiting for Gian Pietro. So in the next lobby, we'll have 4 teams waiting to get underway. I'll run you through those in a short moment's time. We are just waiting. There we go for Gian Pietro to finish up there. So in the next lobby, we will have Sierra Esports, Precision Racing, Ultimate Formula Racing Team, and Alien Motorsports in Lobby 2. But here are your Lobby 1 standings. Just before we head to a little break, we have Gian Pietro and Tartan leading the way, followed by George Ansel in second, Labella in third, Santana fourth. So for TF10 and Tartan, the 4 very good lap times indeed. For VRM, it's Jeremy Gallané in fifth. IRT then come in sixth and seventh with 1 minute 0.072 and a 0.74 respectively. So 2 very closely matched teammates for IRT, best they could have got. And then it'll be Gino and Noise for BRC, and unfortunately for VRM, it's Matteo in 10th. That could be quite an issue for them. But we will be back after this short break while we get into the second lobby. So we'll see you in a short while. Make sure you stick around for Lobby 2. Right then, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for Lobby 2. We just show the lobby screen so we know everybody is in the lobby and the drivers can get their command to ready up. So we've got 4 teams in this lobby. Sierra Esports team. We've also got PR. We've then got UFRT and then AMS as well. They are the teams that are going to be battling it out here in Lobby 2. Then we'll have a huge 6-team lobby in Lobby 3. That'll be coming up just shortly afterwards. So, now just waiting for the command, and I think it has just come through. Yep, there we go. So we shall be getting underway for Lobby 2 within a few moments' time. Get your predictions in below for the teams that you think will qualify. Make sure to put those in the chat. And also really who you think will be a surprise entrance potentially into the main season. So as drivers are just hopefully readying up. I say they've got the command, it's just now waiting for them to ready up here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Lando saying, if PR don't qualify, I'm going bald. Just for that alone, I kind of hope they don't get through, just so we can see you bald. Anyway, Clawson saying he thinks TES, TRT, PR, and TF10 will qualify. Some good shouts there from Clawson. They're all big hitters and the teams you would expect to go through. But now we are in to the qualifying format. Of course, just like Lobby 1, it'll be 18 minutes of qualifying action, 4 runs each, all bringing us to ahead to try and see who will come out on top. The current standings are as follows. It is Tartum from TF10. They're separated by 500ths of a second. A further 10th back from that is IRT in third. Then we have BRC on a 1 minute 30.1. And I was right with Vroom's somewhat average. Well, I was right with their average. It was a 1 minute 3.2. So they currently lie in 5th place. But now getting underway for Lobby 2, and we could see some of these teams now be knocked onto the verge of elimination after after this second set. And Lobby 3, we should certainly get an understanding of who will be through and who won't be. I reckon a shock would be EVR or AERT not qualifying. That could certainly be quite a shock. Of course, AERT were actually very close to qualifying for EOR, but unfortunately just come up a little bit short. I was, of course, in the box that day, and me and Joseph got it all completely wrong, but looking to try and make amends for that as we now make it way into Lobby 2. So we have Christoph and Unai for Sierra. For PR, we have Matea and Casper. For UFRT, we have Kimmy and Deck. And then for AMS, we have Birch and Jelma as our contestants in Lobby 2, shall we say. And the first driver to be setting a lap time will be the Alien Motorsports driver, the AMS man of Jelma. Of course, AMS more known for their console division, but still can certainly throw a punch here in the PC side of things as well. So DRS open for Jelma as we head down that main straight and up into turn 1. Down to 4th gear, bring the car out wide, potentially a little bit tentative at the start of this session so far. Be looking just to get that lap time on the board at the very least as we head up to the middle sector split. You can see, yeah, 3 tenths down to what we were seeing at the start of the last qualifying session. Currently on a 15.8 so far from Jelma in that first sector. So for the kick Sauber as he now heads onto the brakes into the right-hander of the Swash Gold. Turn 4, nicely done through there. Get back on the power force. Turn 5, this little kink right before we head into 6, down to 5th gear. Seeming very tentative at the moment for Jelma. I think just really focusing on getting something on the board at the very least to build off. Of course, these will be the banker laps. But still, you need to set a decent one because it is very easy to invalidate around here, like we saw with Valentino Labella. How many people were making mistakes near the end of Lobby 1, 2. So through the final corner for Jelma, up to the line, DRS open. So 1 minute 3.7, not the strongest there for the Kick Sauber as Mattea then goes up already into the 1 minute 3.2s in the Mercedes, followed by Casper for 1 minute 3.380. So for PR, a strong start indeed so far. Christoph has validated his lap time. Birch for AMS as the electors come into pit lane. Something might have happened on his tour around the circuit. So they really are the first runs done. Unai Viega is actually on a lap himself. He's just coming up to the line now. What's it going to be? A 1 minute 3.5. So for Sierra, that's not really the greatest of lap times from Unai. But of course, these guys are all just getting a lap under their belts. Just making sure there's something on the board at the very least to build off. For Christoph, a 16.5 in the first sector is certainly what you'll be looking for. So as we head into turn number 4, see what Christoph is able to do, and a little bit wide through turn 4, potentially kicked a tyre onto the gravel, the rear of the car, just trying to rotate round on itself ever so slightly as we now head through the middle sector, split at 46.6. Of course, we won't have deltas of like if they're improving or if they are down on their lap times. Of course, this is the bankers. They're just going to get that run on the board, and on 1 lap to old tyres already, could certainly be quite a poor end to the lap for one of these drivers if they do invalidate on their first attempt, just like we saw with Christoph. He's elected to dive into pit lane. A deck here for UFRT as he's invalidated through turn 8 as well. So unfortunate there for the Alpine, as he won't be able to get a lap time on the board either. So unlike Lobby 1, where we only had one driver not able to get a lap time on the board after their first attempt, we have a total of 3 thus far. Because of course Kimi has not done his lap time yet either. So, with Kimi for UFRT, this would be, I think this would be quite a shock if they do go through. And I mean, people are always rooting for the underdog, so there's of course less pressure on their shoulders, knowing that they are a team that might not have that ambition to qualify, but see as close as they can get to it. But of course, they will love to do it anyway, and they'll just do as best as they possibly can. So as we now head up into the first sector split, 15.8, so this will put him around about where Jelma is thus far, and he's had a little bit of a rear-locking moment through turn 3. That's going to affect his run all the way down into the Swash Gold, so he could be hemorrhaging some time all the way down this next straight. Might have a little traffic as well with one of the Kick Saubers. I want to say there's Jelma, who currently lies 4th fastest as things currently stand. So for Kimi, through turn 6, lovely off-board shot through some of these corners as well, as you can just see the car fly and just flow through these lefts and rights around this circuit. Of course, only 3 left-handers, sorry, and 7 right-handers. So as we head in to the right-hander of turn 10 to finish off this lap time, Kimi to Kalunda, what's it going to be? A 1 minute 4.0, very disappointing lap time indeed. Not where he would be wanting to be. A second off where we saw a majority of the drivers in that opening lobby. So we now turn our attention to Birch, who hasn't set a lap time yet in the Kick Sauber for AMS. Not set a lap time so far in this session. Now about to head into that middle sector split. Let's see where he is going to be. 43.9, not too bad there from Birch as we're now heading into turn 9. A very difficult corner to get right. You're going in at such high speeds, trying to hold the car for a fast right-hander before then slamming on the brakes into turn 10. DRS open for Birch. What is this lap time going to be? And that's more like it. That's what we are expecting from these drivers. A 1 minute 3.070 from AMS. Birch, a very nice lap indeed, and certainly where he would be expecting himself. Jelma, a 1 minute 3.5. Did find 2/10 of a second on his previous attempt, but still not really enough if AMS wants to qualify. Unfortunately, Mattea has invalidated for PR. It's now Casper going to be coming up to the line. Watch is he going to be able to do in the Mercedes? Casper keeping this one clean through the final sector. It's oh so easy to pick up that invalidation. Up to the line he goes, a 1 minute 3.294. A little bit of an improvement on his previous lap time, but still keeps him behind his teammate of Mattea. As we now see who else could potentially be setting a lap time. Christoph validated his first attempt. A purple middle sector apparently, but we all know how much the game does like to lie about purple middle sectors throughout the previous few titles. Now into the right-hander of 9. Oh, a little wobble there from Christoph, and once again through 10 as well, and does invalidate at the final corner. Those were some costly mistakes as well, even if it was a valid lap, as Deck comes into the pit lane as he invalidates once more. Unai Viega also coming into pit lane 2, so not a good lap time from him either. But for Christoph there, that was a huge moment through turn 9. It then offset the car as well through turn 10, and unfortunately that saw him invalidate the lap time, and it was only going to be good enough for 6th place anyway, so not where Sierra would have wanted that lap to be, and he would have, of course, had to try and push even harder over the next few laps. But the thing is, for Deck and Christoph, the more they invalidate, the more pressure they put on themselves. So no, they've only got a limited amount of laps to get a lap time on the board, and it could still be a very scrappy one, so they might just over push the car. Of course, once again, Kimi displaced compared to the rest of the field, a bit like what we saw Gian Pietro do in that first lobby. Let's see what potentially Kimi Klunda has in store. So for UFRT, currently a 1 minute 4.0 for Kimi. Will be looking to better that by about a second if he wants to put UFRT in a very good position in this qualifying format. So for DRS Open, the Alpine heads up into turn 2 and then up into 3, of course, a late braking zone. About 100 meter board, you want to hit the brakes. Only up by 800ths of a second that first sector, but still a very nice improvement indeed, especially in a sector that's only got one real corner in it. So he has found about a 10th in that first corner. So as we head down into the Swatch Gold of turn 4, down to 3rd gear, back on the power, a little bit of a wobble on corner exit, wasn't even using as much of the track either than he should have on the exit of the corner. As we then head through turn 6, again a little wobble through the corner, up by just under 4/10 of a second, so it shows there's plenty of time in this lap for the Alpine. And now through the final sector, keep it clean, keep it valid from here. We could potentially see another driver into the 2s at the very least. Nicely done through turn 10. DRS opens, we head up to the line. What's it going to be? A 1 minute 3.531. Did find half a second on the lap time, puts him just in front of Jelmar and Unai Viega, who's starting his lap time now, who's up by 300ths in that first sector. Times will be coming in thick and fast, and we'll see who will come out on top. And the only one really looking threatening so far to the times we saw in Lobby 1 is the likes of Birch and potentially the 2 PR boys as well. They still have a lot of time left in the tank, as Unai Viega a little bit wide through there, the rear just skating out under braking. Unfortunately, just let the car wide through turn 6 and then effectively run into 7 as well. Took a little bit of the inside curve, which you don't really want to be doing. You head through turn 9, again a little bit hesitant through there. The rear of the car just not seeming to be hooked up at all for the Sierra Esports team. McLaren, he crosses the line. He does find just under 2/10 of a second. It's only good enough for 4th fastest. Casper and Mattea now on their lap times. Mattea is up by a 10th of a second in that middle sector. He's now heading into the final one through turn 10. DRS Open. Can Mattea displace Birch at the top of the times? Across the line he goes. Yes, he can. 2/10 found, and that's exactly what PR needed. It was a little bit topsy-turvy at the start of this session, but for PR, at least they've got one car in a very good position. Potentially, Casper could be joining his teammate ever so shortly too. A little bit wide through 9, but it won't matter too much, I wouldn't think. And it did matter quite a lot. 300th found. He lost about a 10th in that final sector. Still, that is some more time on the board. Now we'll have an average of about, I would say, maybe a 1 minute 3.2 dead, or just into those 1 minute 3.1s is that overall average. Deck, unfortunately going slowly, just letting people through. And Christoph again invalidating his lap time. So disaster for the McLaren once more. And for Sierra, it looks like at the moment they're currently going to be a team with only 1 lap time on the board, the first one of the evening. So, DRS open for Christoph as he tries one more time. He does have time to do this, of course. It's a short lap around here in Spielberg. Red Bull Ring will be a little bit favourable for these qualifiers, especially if you're someone like Christoph, where you can do multiple laps on the same set of tyre. 15.7 through that first sector. So he's got the pace, especially through that first sector, does the McLaren of Christoph. He's setting around about the times you saw some of the drivers in Lobby 1 do when they got their .0s in that first part of the lap. We now head into the Swash Golden Turn 4. A little bit too much inside Apex curb, I would have thought, from the McLaren compared to everybody else. He just rode the curb instead of you used a little bit of a glance on the tyre. Through the middle sector, bit 44.0, but there now you can see those tyres come into effect. Just how poor they start to feel, and unfortunately you get a lot of understeer as the tyres aren't anywhere near as good as they once were, and he invalidates the lap and is into the wall. Luckily damage is off and he's able to live to see another day. Well, that's going to be very dear indeed. But he starts into the pit lane and will trundle down it now. So your current standings as we head into these final runs of Lobby 2. The top 3 stay as they were from Lobby 1. Tatum from TF10 from IRT. Then we have Precision Racing in 4th. So PR, who are currently 1st and 3rd in this lobby, doing quite nicely. Then it's BRC, followed by Vroom in 5th and 6th. And then we will have Alien Motorsports, UFRT and Sierra Esports rounding out the field thus far. 9 teams, of course, qualifying this evening. We'll see who does break in to those 9 teams. Of course, Sierra at the minute very much on the cusp with a 1 minute 6.7 as that average, because of course Christoph not setting a lap time just yet, needs to be in the first one out on to the road, as you would expect from someone who is struggling for lap time and will need a few stabs to get it done. Two minutes and 30 seconds now left on the clock. We'll try and get everybody at least one on board in these final runs just as they're coming up to the line. So at the moment the order is as follows. The drivers out on the circuit. It's Christoph from Casper from Mattea from Casper from Mattea, sorry. Christoph and Sierra. This is a very crucial lap in the team's history. Will it be a remontada? Will it be a Hail Mary goes right? Or will the pressure get to the McLaren? No more redos after this one here, Christoph. This is your last set of tyres and you want to get it done now. So for the McLaren, he starts his final run of the session. Up into turn 1 we go now, down to 4th gear, clip over that first apex curve, run the car then out wide to the sausage curb, then DRS open for Christoph. First sector split coming up. We know he's got the pace through that first sector, and once again a 15.7. He certainly can average those 0.7s constantly throughout that first sector. It's more the middle and final sector that just lets him go. So as we head into the Swash Golden Turn 4, braking at around about 75 metres, down to 3rd gear, clip that inside apex curve. That was a lot better this time around than we saw from him only just that lap ago. So he heads into turn 6, make sure you don't drop the rear of the car like we saw his teammate Unai do. It's a 44.0 through the middle sector 2. So he's then through turn 8, and into the final 2 corners. This is crucial. Will the pressure get to Christoph, or will he be able to get that lap time on the board a little bit wide through 9? It's going to affect his run through 10 as well, but he's managed to keep it clean. He's managed to keep it valid for Christoph. It's only 4 fastest, a 1 minute 3.295, but at the end of the day, it is a lap time on the board. Casper to the line. What's he going to do? He's down on his lap time and he's going to be going again. So he is one of the drivers lucky enough to have another shot at it. Same with Mattea as well. He'll have another stab at this attempt. Hjalmar only up by 100th in that middle sector. So he'll need a monstrous final one if he wants to try and break into potentially the 2s. I think that's really going to be your safe spot so far in this session is the 1 minute 3.2s. Across the line, does find a 10th, but unfortunately a 1 minute 3.3. Unai Viega heading through the final corner now. That's going to be his session over and done with. Same with Kimi as well. He's not been able to improve on his lap time. Going to give his teammate Deck a little bit of a slipstream as Birch now goes to the top of the times. A 1 minute 3.010. That's beautiful from the Alien Motorsports man. But the likes of Casper and Matteo are both improving. Deck only 7th fastest, that's UFRT, surely on the brink of elimination as Hjalmar spins, and so does Casper. Hjalmar retires, Casper spins round, and for PR, their hope now lies on Matteo. Of course, they are still in a very good position in terms of their overall qualifying as it currently stands, but with 6 cars in lobby 3, they are not going to be safe just yet, and he does invalidate as Matteo. He has invalidated at the penultimate corner. It wouldn't have been an improvement anyway, but for PR, 2 lap times gone by the wayside, and unfortunately for them, they will not get an improvement, but they do keep that 4th place overall. But it could cost them dearly depending on how these next 6 teams do. Because of course only 9 qualify, and if 5 are quicker than them, they'll see the door. So your order is as follows here in lobby 2. A Birch for Alien Motorsport, a brilliant lap time from him, a 1 at 3.010, followed by Matteo, only just under 400ths behind. Casper in 3rd, further 2 attempts back from the pair. Then it's Christoph, Hjalmar, Unai Viega, Deck, and Kimi bringing up those final few spots. And for UFRT, they are surely going to be eliminated from this one. So, in lobby 3, with 6 cars to their names, we'll have AERT, EVR Evolution Racing Team, GSR, PEC, VRE, and MTK, who will be in that final lobby of the evening. Make sure you stick around to see how this one unfolds. Still plenty of teams at the risk of elimination. The only 2 that are comfortably through will be Tartum and TF10. Everybody else is still could be potentially eliminated from this one. And actually, no, sorry, IRT are through as well. The lowest they can go is 9th place. So from Precision Racing downwards in the spreadsheet leaderboard, so it will be PR, Alien Motorsports, Bravo from Sierra Esports and UFRT. They're all on the verge of elimination. Make sure you see who comes out on top and who unfortunately will not make it into the main season after this short break while we get lobby 3 all set up. Right then, everybody, we are back here now for the final lobby of the evening to find out who will come out, who will qualify and join Thomas Engersim in the main season here for the TTC top tier. So, as I mentioned, in this lobby, 6 teams currently are in it. And they are the teams that are as follows. AERT will be in the Mercedes, followed by EVR in the McLaren, GSR in the Williams, PEC in the Aston Martin, VRE in the VCarb, and MTK in the Ferrari. There was a short delay there from one of the PC boys, unfortunately, just getting to their PC and to turn it on. But we are now here in lobby 3. 18 more minutes of action will decide who will join Thomas Enger in the qualifiers. Of course, they qualified thanks to the mini season that we had at the start of the game cycle, and that granted you auto qualification for this division. So then, as everybody makes their way out onto the circuit, of course, let me quickly just run you through the teams that have made it through the likes of lobbies 1 and 2, just to refresh your memory of somebody, or if one of you have joined rather late, if some of you are newcomers to the stream for lobby 3. So, Tartum and TF10, they have qualified. There's no chance of them getting eliminated. IRT, or same with IRT as well. They're 1, 2, 3 as it currently stands and will make it through alongside Thomas Engersim. That may have the teams potentially at risk of PR and Alien Motorsport. It will be a very big ask for them to be demoted, but still could happen. And then we have the teams very much on the cusp of elimination, likes of Bravo Racing Club, Vroom, Sierra Esports, and UFRT. But the first driver to be starting a lap time here will be the Williams of Andrara as we head into turn 1 with him now. DRS open for the Williams. We'll see what they are going to be able to do in this first sector split. 15-7. This is what we saw the likes of Christoph do on their opening tour of the circuit. So DRS open for Ondra as we head into the Swash Gold. Of course, this now a crucial session. This will determine what team make it through and who don't. Oh, a little bit of a moment there for the GSR driver. That's going to cost him dearly into turn 6 and a little bit hesitant through there. Just a bit too much rotation from the front of the car. The rear sliding and trying to step out as well as much as it possibly dares. Now heading into the right-hander of turn 9 and then into 10, the final corner. What's this going to be for Andrade? This is the first benchmark of the session. Up to the line, a 1 minute 3.3, instantly beaten by Marcel Biega, who's already into those .2s. Of course, many times will be coming in thick and fast. Sound Coral for EVR, a 1 minute 3.121. A good lap time there from him. Hops, only a 1 minute 3.5. Same with David as well. That was Zuti heading up into second for AERT2, a 1 minute 3.256. Ricardo only good enough for a 1 minute 3.7, 6 tenths off his teammate. Victor for MTK, a very scrappy turn 5. I don't know if he's actually pushing on this lap. As you actually see Zenti coming up to the line. Zetien, sorry, goes up into 5th place with a 1 minute 3.321. So, after these first laps from some of the drivers, do we have any team? Yes, we do have one of the teams that have started thus far being eliminated that were in the previous lobby. So it is Ultimate Formula Racing Team, UFRT. They are officially out of the out of the season. They cannot make it through. GSR taking their place. Very nicely done from the GSR at the moment, but still plenty of time on offer, and they are not safe just yet. And the next team that have no chance of being able to get through if they do get knocked out is Sierra Esports. They're the next team that cannot go again on the cusp of elimination. So we'll see how these next laps do unfold. So as we come in to pit lane with Zetian, we'll see who comes out on top in this qualifying session. Sound Coral doing really well for EVR, but unfortunately his teammate on that 0.7 of Ricardo will not do the team a world of good, but of course that could have been a very scrappy lap for the McLaren. And there's still plenty of more opportunity for drivers to get that time onto the board. I think it might be Andre. No, it will not be Andre again getting us underway. It will be Diego in the Aston Martin getting us underway here for a next lot of runs. And I think he's doing like we've seen so many do in these types of sessions. Well, in the past two lobbies, we've always seen one driver out of sync with the rest. And that is looking like it's going to be Diego, but he will be caught out potentially by some traffic come the late stage of this lap time. So for PEC, who are just outside of the green, they're just outside of qualification. Through turn one, a little bit deep through there for Diego. That's not going to do him a whole world of good. Heading up into turn 3, so we'll see what he does through the first sector split. 15.7, so still 15.7, still a very solid and respectable first sector from the Aston Martin, but still very not where he would want to be, and there's still plenty of time to be found in that first part of the lap. Now into the swash guard, down to third gear, over that inside apex curve quite nicely. And back on the power once more. Does have a McLaren in front of him that might give him a little bit of dirty air, so we need to get out of the way. Will that McLaren for EVR, that was of Ricardo as Soundcore was just started. He's that through the middle split of 44.2, a little bit wide as well. Through turn 7 for Diego, using as much battery as he can now, heading into turn 9 before you get that short run to turn 10. A little bit wide through 9, does get a good run through 10. DRS open then for Diego. What's this lap time going to be? A 1 minute 3.608. Not exactly where they would want to be at this current stage of proceedings. But we're now going to go on to Soundcore, the current leader of this session. And for EVR, of course, this could be very crucial for them, especially if Ricardo can set a very good lap time too. He's down by 800ths of a second. Is Soundcore, the Ferrari there, getting out the way quite nicely. That's of Victor Pog, who's just been able to get out of the way. So for Soundcore now heading into the final corner, has been able to find any time on this lap. Up to the line he goes. And no, wasn't able to find any lap at all. Hops, I think, did improve ever so slightly on his previous attempts. Are now up to the line. What can he do? Stays 5th fastest. Ondra as well in 2nd. Nice lap from him as Jacob goes up into 4th for 1 minute 3.2. Certainly for PC in the Aston Martin. Is he going to be able to find an improvement? No, invalidates through turn number 9. And unfortunately, it would have been not enough anyway. It was down by 0.6 of a second. Igor goes up to 10th fastest. And for MTK, as it currently stands, it is looking quite doom and gloom for them. Ricardo invalidated his lap, so unfortunately wasn't able to go for an improvement. But unfortunate for Ricardo. But still plenty of time left in this session. It is not all over yet. Victor is up by half a tenth in that middle sector. This won't even bring him into the 1 minute 4. It's really out of the equation at the moment at MTK. Just Victor not having any pace at all as it currently stands. See through 9, just not really being too much on the limit of the car. Through the final corner he goes up to the line. A 1 minute 4.869 for the Ferrari. So I think next we're really going to see is Marcel Biega in the V car. For VRE, AERT now have actually cemented themselves as through. GSR have increased their gap over the rest of the field as well. And they currently lie in 7th place. And AERT are just scraping through. So Sierra Esports are out. And I think only Sierra and UFRT are the teams that are currently out overall that cannot go for another attempt. Of course, they are out overall. And unfortunately, they will not be making it through to the main season. But here we are then for Marcel Biega, his team, Virtual Racing Esports, currently on a 1 minute 3.3. We'll need to find a 10th on this lap. Well, a 10th and a bit, really, if they want to bring that average down to AERT. So we're going to see Biega heading up into turn 1 now. Sector 1 split down by 5 tenths, has aborted that attempt. So I think it'll be the PEC driver of Diego. A little bit late to the session was the reason we had the delay. We'd like to potentially make up for that for the team itself as well. So then potentially put them into that top 9, of course. If you are new here so far this evening, we are looking for the 9 fastest teams to join Thomas Engersim in the main season of the TTC Season 5 top tier. Through the first sector split for Diego, up by 7/100ths of a second. Still needing more though. We'll need to find at least, I would say, 4 tenths if he wants any chance of helping PEC find their way through. Our point 2 is seeming quite optional at the moment, and if his teammate of Zentity does go faster and potentially to the ones, it could see their average really brought down nicely. So through the left-hander of turn 6 and into 7, he's up by just under a 10th of a second. As we now head into the penultimate corner with Diego. He has found some time. It will not promote him a place just yet. Turning a little bit too early to turn 9. That really off-put his run into 10. DRS open as he lost time thanks to that mistake as he crosses the line. No, did find time, but still only 9th fastest for Diego thus far. Who else is on a lap time? Who should we go on board with who could potentially be putting on the pressure? Sentinel just starting his. I think we should go on board with Ondra in the GSR Williams. Of course, they currently lie in 7th place, and he's up by a 10.5. This could be a spectacular lap from Ondra. Could see with the first driver since Lobby 1 into the 1 minute 2 region. Through the final corner we go now with the Williams. Will it be enough to get into the 1 minute 2s and cement GSR's place? Across the line, no, just misses out on the 1 minute 2, but still, that should be good enough for GSR to get through to the main season. A very nice lap time indeed. Hops not improving on his lap time suit. Zuti now heading through the final corner. Not the final corner, turn 6, sorry. And into the final sector. It's up by 75 thousandths. This would be good for AERT to just extend their breathing space over the chasing pack behind, who are trying to knock them off their perch. As AERT through the final corner we go now. He keeps it clean, does the Mercedes, up to the line. Is it an improvement? A massive improvement indeed. A 1.5 tenth improvement to go into the 1 minute 3.0s. That should also see AERT through, and Hopsy's teammate is actually currently on a lap as well. Zentini managed to go up into 4th place. They're just on the cusp, PEC, on breaking through as it currently stands. So through the left-hander of turn 6 for Hops. He's still improving on his lap time. He just needs a more minor improvement. Any improvement will be dear for AERT, and they will absolutely love it in that camp if they can make it through. But no, invalidates and cuts straight across the grass and into pit lane. So for Hops, nicely done to just divert and go into the pits. Victor, is he on a lap? I think he might be, but Lapore on out of turn 3. Won't do him any world of good. So, currently at the teams in this lobby, it is AERT and GSR. They are surely through their 3rd and 5th so far in the table. Need some big improvements indeed. And they actually are above Precision Racing. But for the other teams, the likes of VRE, PEC and EVR, they'll be looking for some big responses indeed. And Soundcoral's done everything he can thus far. It's just Ricciardo's lap time really dragging them down. Even if Ricciardo can get within a tenth of Soundcoral's lap time, I would expect that to see EVR into that top 9. So, of course, team safe thus far will be Tartum, TF10, IRT, GSR, and AERT, I think, will be the teams that can certainly be safe in this one. But PR and AMS and Bravo as well, still potentially on the cusp of getting eliminated. Grumpy bringing in some good facts there and some key knowledge to the chat. AERT are 5th in every single quali this season for Team PC. Can they keep that streak alive and make it 3 for 3? That would be a stat and a half to have as an organisation. What's it looking like at the minute for AMS, says Callum? They're about a tenth and a half to the good at the moment. It's PC with a 1 minute 3.319. They're currently in a 1 minute 3.160. They're currently lying 7th place. But anything can happen. And for PC and VRT, they are the two teams threatening potentially getting through. Potentially as well. VRE, sorry. And also EVR as well. So they are still very much at risk of elimination. We'll go actually to Ricciardo, who is on a lap time currently through the first sector of 15.8. He's up by 200 for the second, but he just needs to keep this one clean, does Ricciardo. That's all that EVR will care about, is just keep it valid and just get an improvement. As long as it's enough, we could see ourselves through, but he's down by a 100th in that middle sector. This is not looking good for EVR at all, and this could see them out of the qualifying and out of the main season. The slide through turn 9, and for EVR, that's it. They are out, and Ricciardo has spun, and it's all gone up in smoke. Soundcoral did everything he could, but it will surely just not be enough, unfortunately. Marcel Biega for VRE, they're about a tenth away from making it through, and Biega now through the middle sector split is up by 2/10 of a second. So for Virtual Racing Esports, they could see themselves through, courtesy of Marcel Biega. Up to the line, up to turn 9 and turn 10 now comes Marcel Biega. It'll be the run to the line, and out of 10 that'll be so dear. A little correction, but that surely wouldn't have lost him much time. Up to the line he goes. It's second fastest for Marcel Biega, a 1 minute 3.0, a wonderful lap time from the V-Carb, as we'll see what his teammate David can do through the final sector. Unfortunately, he's invalidated his lap, but he has enough time to recharge and go again, so he still has that opportunity. Same with Diego as well. He's done the same as the VRE driver, as we see Hops, Soundcoral to the line. He now goes fast. It's a 1 minute 2.9. It's a shame his teammate Ricciardo had that mistake, because they certainly could have seen themselves through here. EVR, AERT, Suti, and also Hops are both on a lap. Hops for AERT. Can they extend their grasp even further on qualification? Yes, they can. A 1 minute 3.0 from Hops. Zuti as well. He could potentially be on for a 0, but sorry, he's already on a 0, but for a 1 minute 2, but unfortunately invalidates across the line he would have got, and it would have been good enough for actually topping the session, but they are through anyway. AERT, a very delightful result for them. I think we should keep our attention to the likes of Zetani and also Diego too, and Diego's gone for a spin. Might have been some contact and maybe caught out unawares by the Ferrari of Igor. But Diego going for a spin there for PEC. That could be sheer disaster. As up to the line comes David. Unfortunately, he's invalidated, and that lap time would not have improved him a position at all. And I think that is going to be the end of things here. Actually, no, we still have Andra to the line. He's invalidated. What about Zetani for PEC? Currently in the 3.3s, down in that middle sector. We'll need to just try and find any chance of improvement through the final corner now, but no, he does invalidate as well. Now, unfortunately, for Zetani and for PEC, I think that is going to be their journey over as well. So now we are just awaiting confirmation. I'm going to give it a few minutes for the board to update, and then I'll run you through the standings. I don't know if we are going to potentially get a redo for one of the drivers. AVR, a big shock to be eliminated here. Ricardo just not seeming to have a lap time. But for Diego, he could get a rerun thanks to the Ferrari of Igor getting in his way. But that is your order. Sound call from Ondra, Hobbs, Biega, Zuti, Zetany, Jacob, David, Diego, Igor, Ricardo, and then finally Victor. And I think your standings will be as follows. In the... Well, I don't know if we are going to get a rerun for Diego, so this could be potentially disaster for Vroom if they do get a rerun. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see on that front. But your order is as follows provisionally. Well, we know at least the top 9 at this stage. Well, the top 8 at this stage would be Tartum from TF10, IRT, AERT, GSR, who AERT actually just with that improvement jumping GSR, and that means their 5th place streak in all the qualifiers has come to an end. PR in 6th, Alien Motorsport in 7th, Bravo 8th, of Vroom in 9th is the only one that is up in the question. And I think we are going to get a rerun here for Diego and Diego only. I'm still just awaiting confirmation on that. I think if Diego, if you stay in the lobby, that would be great. So we can literally just use the exact same lobby to get you back underway. But for EVR, it's a big shock in them being eliminated. And that is really, really unfortunate. Because, of course, Soundcurl did everything he could. He topped that session. He was in the 2-minute 9s. And unfortunately for Ricardo, he just couldn't get that lap together. And that really did put EVR on the back foot. That spin at the end saw their chance of qualification going up in smoke. I don't know what we're going to be doing still about the Diego situation. It is being currently discussed. So for VRM, they'll be nervously and anxiously waiting on the final verdict. Because, of course, this could be the difference between them qualifying and, unfortunately, being eliminated. And for VRM, that would also be a massive shock as well. Quite an established team falling at this hurdle. I might quickly put you guys on the Be Right Back screen until we get further confirmation. We'll quickly go to an intermission until this gets all decided, because if he does get another run, we'll be back either way, just to clarify. But if he does get another run, we'll have one more 18-minute session underway, and it'll be a private session for Diego. So we'll have to see if he can make it through or not for PEC. The question is, will we get that one and done opportunity, or is this the final result? Stick around and you'll find out. It shouldn't be too long till we come to a decision. We'll just have to wait in due course, as this current issue is being discussed. Right, wrong frame there, Max. But welcome back, everybody. We do have confirmation about the rerun request, and it is going to be Diego taking a rerun. He was impeded by the Ferrari, and the stipulations will be as follows. It will be... Oh, sorry, accidentally put you on the start stream. Press the wrong button. It will be a one banker, which will not count. So you have a banker lap to get a delta, which will not count. I repeat, that will not be a valid lap time. And then he will have one attempt afterwards to be able to then set his lap time. If it's slower than his original lap that he had in qualifying in the lobby with everybody else, it will stand to be that lap. I've had to quickly join as a car to get Diego into the lobby, but he can do the lap whenever he wants throughout the session. The stipulation is just now he'll have that one attempt at doing so. So a lot of pressure on Diego's shoulders here. It's a one and done situation for him. Right, so Diego now coming out on a lap. This, of course, will be his banker. As I say, will not count to his valid attempt at things. All the pressure now lies on Diego for PC. So he'll need to improve on his lap in lobby 3 by a tenth of a second. That was, if I quickly have a look, he set a 1 minute 3.3. He said he was on for a 0.0 before that incident. So if he improves by a tenth of a second, PC potentially be free. Currently, their average is a 1 minute 3.319. VRM's average is a 1 minute 3.222. So here we are then for the banker. Of course, this won't officially count, but it is still a lap time indeed that we can see and get that delta time for 15.6 in that first sector for Diego. Of course, he can invalidate this one, it won't matter too much. And also on that one lap he has, he can't abort to then go again or to come into the pit lane to change tyres. That lap is it. There is no second chances here in the TTC. And this is what can be make or break for either VRM or PC for the top tier championship. All lies on Diego's shoulders. There was a lengthy delay. I'm sorry about the lengthy delay because that was for a potential request from VRE as well. That got rejected. We are here with PC, and that first banker lap only a 1 minute 3.3. Made a mistake through the final corner. Did Diego. Still, that lap isn't the one that counts. He could be a bit more cautious on that one. Just make those mistakes, get a feel for the circuit, get a feel for the track. And now, we are going to see Diego have all that pressure put on his shoulders. He was speaking to Christian Clausen in the chat saying, that's a lot of pressure on me. He's just got to try and stay calm. Of course, when everybody is watching you as well. You've not got somebody else in the lobby who've potentially got a rerun. All eyes are on you. It does make you feel quite small in a situation like this, and it makes you think, oh, anything can happen. Potentially, could see Diego falter underneath it, or he could shine. They do say pressure makes diamonds, and he could certainly do a lap. That is worth that kind of money if he is a diamond. So the lap time Diego needs is a 1:03.285. That or better will see PEC through to the top tier, and we'll see Froome eliminated. Now he waits. This is now part of the waiting game. Is he going to come out straight away after that banker lap to now get a run in? Or is he just going to sit in the garage until that final part of the session? Go for it then. These are the strategies that can be at play. I have a feeling he will wait to the end. So we got around about 10 minutes of us having a discussion here. So, people in the chat, do you think Diego will do it? Put in your answers below. Yes or no? Is Diego going to be the man to send PEC through? Or VRM just be able to hold on? Galenay saying, I hope no. Zentny, he got 1 lap or 4 laps? He's got 1 lap. So this next lap is his lap. He can't abort. He can't do anything else. He's got this 1 attempt. Imagine if he does an exact .285. That would be insane. That would honestly be insane to just scrape through by the barest of margins. And come out on top. Of course. Either of these teams join Thomas Enger Sim, who have auto qualified, and the rest who qualified here today, the top 8 who have qualified thus far. Tartan, TF10, IRT, AERT, GSR, PR, AMS, BRC, and they are the top 8 that are already with Thomas Enger. And it's now just between Vroom and Esports PEC on who comes out on top. For Vroom, it will be a very disappointing evening if they do not make it through. A disastrous one indeed. They are a very established team. Will be looking to make it through these teams' championships comfortably, and are on the risk of going home before we even get the season underway. And for a team like AOS, they did make it through. A more console-based team, that's where you might have seen them a lot before. But they are certainly cementing themselves here at Austria anyway. As a team not to be messed with. I think we do have confirmation that we are going to see a final few minute run from Diego. Sorry about the game pause then. It was just me going onto Discord. Why? He got only 1 lap? He's got 1 lap, so he doesn't basically get 4 extra attempts. It is just the banker lap to get a delta, so he's not racing completely in the blind because he would have had a delta on that final lap anyway. And to now go for it, to properly send it around this circuit. Of course, the shortest lap time on the calendar. And 1/10 of a second. could seal this one for PEC. Or just over a tenth, should I say. The 10th and 100th could seal this one. Of course, this happened in the Premier Tier. BRC, who have qualified for this top tier championship as well, only just in 8th place. In the Premier Tier, they needed 300s to improve, and they managed to do so. But a lot more time to find in this one from Diego. The Chilean, can he be cool under pressure? Can he be chilled, calm and relaxed? That's what gets you lap times. If you get caught over driving the car, unfortunately you see yourself struggling and losing lap time. Bleeding lap time as you head around the track. It'll be a big shame, especially for PEC, if they invalidate the first corner, because of course that can still happen. If he invalidates the first corner, that'll be it. He'll be done. PB is a 2.8, so he certainly has the pace in the car, does Diego. He just needs to keep his head. Zone everything out around him and focus on the one task at hand. Get PEC through to the main season. I don't have a calendar graphic, but I think we do have this season's calendar. Yes, we do. I can run you through it now. So, of course, we're here at Austria for the qualifiers. Next week will be the start of the season, and it will be at Belgium on the 15th of August. Then we will move to Hungary before a trip to Saudi Arabia, and that will round off the August adventure for round 3 on the 29th. Before we make our way to the Americas to go over to Kota for round 4, then we head back to Asia for Singapore before a transfer week. I don't know if that's. I think that is a week break as well. Yes, it is a week break. So we have a week break for teams to do their transfers before we head to Spain, Silverstone forwards, and then Silverstone in reverse. Then China and Canada before we have another transfer week after round 10. So after every 5 rounds, we're going to get transfer week, a week off for teams to make their transfers and get ready for the next week at hand. Before we head to Brazil, Japan, Las Vegas, Monza, and Abu Dhabi to round off the season. That will be on the 5th of December. So a lengthy 4-month calendar on our hands. No, 5-month calendar on our hands, sorry. But it will be eventful throughout, and there can only be one team's champion. Of course, Thomas Engersim coming in on the strong foot, winning the mini-season, and I've got the automatic qualifications. Still plenty to play for here in the top tier championship. I think the two Silverstone races back to back are going to be quite interesting, actually. Yeah, what is everybody's opinions on the calendar? What is your favourite track on that calendar? Put that in the chat as well, just before Diego comes out on to the circuit. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what circuit they like the most, and where they think the most chaos could potentially come. Can I reread the qualified teams? Of course I can. And Silverstone is great as well as Spa. Yeah, they could be two very fantastic races indeed. So the qualified teams alongside, of course, Thomas Enger, Artartum, TF10, IRT, AERT, GSR, PR, AMS, BRC. They're the 8 teams that are through. Of course, we're now here deciding the finale place, should I say, the final place in that top 10 teams. And that's a VRM versus PEC. That's PSC, the one with the upper hand, the one that is fighting tooth and nail for this, the one with the opportunity to knock VRM off their perch and break into that top 9. He's leaving it very late here, does Diego. The Chilean driver is just going to be waiting and waiting. Here we are then, the Aston Martin coming out of his pit box, out of the garage with 1 minute and 42 seconds remaining. Diego, this outlap will be one of the most pressure moments of his career. All it boils down to is this. PC for shot at destiny. Their one opportunity to go through. It all lies on this man here, Diego, with a one attempt, one stab at the cherry. This is what qualifiers are made for. The high intense late drama, and fate will decide who goes through. So the lap begins now. DRS opens. We head up into turn 1 for Diego. Keep it calm, keep it smooth as we head down to 4th gear over the inside apex curve. Keeps it within track limits, which is perfectly done for him as we head now into that first sector split. Is he up or down on that 1 minute 3.3? He's down by just under half a tenth of a second, but we know there is certainly time to find, especially in that final part of the lap. Had a huge moment in turn 9 on the banker. But now into the Swash Gold. This is it, the final time in these qualifiers. He'll be touring this circuit, and it's with all this pressure of PSC's destiny in his hands. VRM will be biting their nails as this lap goes round, but still PC trying everything they can. He's up by 600ths of a second. Can he do it? Diego now heading into the final 2 corners. We know he had a mistake here in turn 9. Flicks it into the right-hander. A lot smoother this time around. Into the final corner. Here is the run. Is it going to be enough for Diego? Can he send PEC through? He can! He does it! Diego sends PEC through in the dying embers of that session, and VRM are eliminated here in the TTC qualifiers. With all that pressure, the Chilean stays as cool as a cucumber, and he wins out against VRM. What a performance that was from Diego with everything on the line. It may not have been his best lap, but still, it got the job done. And he managed to come out victorious, and they beat VRM in the overall standings by 19 thousandths of a second. What a drive from Diego. That's what these pressure moments are made for. The drivers that step up And he certainly did step up, did the Chilean. What a performance for him. But PC with that are through to the main season. VRM just in the dying embers, get knocked out. All that nail biting, all that nervous waiting. We waited about, I think, half an hour to get this verdict with PEC and VRM, and it has come out with PSC being victorious. That was a lap of all laps from Diego. He may not, as I say, it may not have been his greatest lap, but he kept his head. So, your 9 teams that joined Tomasenga Sim, I read them out just before the session got, well, Diego's lap got underway, but it is Tartan from TF10. Then we'll see IRT, AERT, GSR, PR, AMS, BRC, and then finally, with that lap time, PEC makes it through in the dying embers. What a lap. He kept it clean, he kept it safe in that final sector, and that's what made him victorious there. But that is going to round out your stream for us here today. You have your 9 teams through, and you'll make sure you'll want to stay here for the main season. It's going to be an absolute blast. So make sure you guys stick around for the season ahead. We'll be back next week for round 1 in Belgium. Don't go anywhere. Thank you all very much for watching. That was a crazy finale, and we shall see you for what should be a very crazy round 1 in Belgium with a lot of action and a lot of points to prove as the season begins. Thank you all very much for watching, and goodbye.